Perfect. So I guess to start off, what's your name and
Okay.
what groups did you sing with?
Yeah, I'm John Billy from Baltimore, Maryland, raised up in Baltimore, born in Washington, D.C. In 1952, we got together. First, we called ourselves the Cavaliers. Then after 1 year, I think, a year and a half, something, then we changed the number to Honey Boys because a fellow from Joe Dasher, he's a saxophone player, and he wanted to record a song he written. And so when we went to record it, he asked us to use that name, Honey Boys. That's how Honey Boys got, for me. So the whole Honey Boys, the four of us, Calvin Rolette, Roland Jackson, Dixon Stokes, and you truly, John Billy. And we all got together at that young age, and in 54, that's when we recorded Never Lose Faith in Me and Vippity Vop, who was written by Joe Dasher with Modern Records. The song, they fell in Baltimore, but it didn't accumulate any kind of, hit or nothing like that. But that was our one and only recording with Modern Records. So after, in 58 is when I got married. And then after that, Honey was we wasn't like no, but I formed a group of my own called the Generators, John, Billy, and the Generators. I played organ and sung, and I had three other pieces of bass, drums, and guitar behind me. And we played all the nightclubs in Baltimore, and that was like from the whole from the 60s to the 70s. We played every weekend. We played Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Sometimes Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. But the Generators were really popular in Baltimore. In fact, the Generators was more popular than the Honey Boys. But after the 60s, the 70s, then I decided to have a business of my own. So I opened a grocery store. And as determinate the Generators, I couldn't perform on weekends or anything like that. But the thing about it, that I did a lot of solo. My sister asked me to go to come to New York. Where she lives in New York, she wanted me to do some gospel songs at her church. And I never sung gospel. So she begged me and pleased me. So I finally did. I came up there, and I made about three videos was going, and I was surprised at how I felt in love with singing gospel. I was really, and so that was the first and only time I was sung that. But I never tried in career or a recording from anything. But my main thing was, after I got married, is my family. I was devoted to my family, raising my family. After we had my grocery store, and my wife and I, we met during the 50s, in which it was kind of struggle because of an interracial. And because of that, my wife was convicted on a 275-year-old law that Maryland had that a white female couldn't have a baby by a black man. So that law, because of us, was demolished. It was changed in 1967. It was taken off the books, you know. And to this point, in 2020, my wife passed away. And I felt that after she passed away, I still want to tribute to her in ways of mainly let the state city forget about her. So what I did, I opened my museum at our home. I mean, everywhere I turn, I don't care, in the bedroom, anywhere, I got her picture now. And that's the memories I keep of her, you know, she deserved that. And right now, I'm waiting for the governor to come here to see what's coming, because I think the state and the city owes my wife some kind of notoriety of what she was put through, you know, all that during the 50s, you know. So right now, today, the museum called Flavor emphasize faith, love, victory over racism, and also written a book called Flavor. What the city did, I written a song called Flavor too, and that was picked as the Baltimore Civil Rights Love Song. And I have received that. I think was in 2016. No, yeah, it's on 15, something like that. But anyway, it was just a song that, you know, that indicates what we went through, all the demonstration always coming, you know, and what the state did to my wife, you know. And I felt I want to write this song, and it's called Flavor, you know. And so then, if you want to hear the song, I had the record, you know. So I'd be very proud to say. And to this day, I just feel having a museum is something I dedicated to her. And I feel, you know, since she's passed away, and what she went through, what the state put her through, you know, I still feel I got to still have, it was part of history. And something like that, when a person, oh man, it's unspeakable. It's what a white female during the 50s was go through having a baby by a black man. And she was the only one who ever convicted of this old crime, 275-year-old crime. But we stood our ground. Even our lawyers want us get married in Baltimore, which was illegal. So right at the time was so much problems what she was going through. We didn't want to make it worse than what it was. So we went to Washington, D.C. to get married. We got married in 1958. And we had 3 kids. And that's something that the state never dreamed of, that this interracial couple would have a family in Maryland. And right today, you see more interracial couples together. Kids was called. My wife was the first one who started that, took that law off the book. And that's something, you know, I would say it's more than history, you know, because it made a step good for black and white. It made a step good for relation. It made a step good for, the whole city and the whole state, And this is why I felt that I still owed it to her, And this is during my, with calm, I appreciate our 62nd anniversary. President Joe Biden sent us what's called the governor over there, Hogan. He sent us the what's called and Senate. I mean Governor Hogan here and Senate and the senator sent us what's called, and I thank them, because they recognized what especially the president. What we went through, he said, and to start off like that in the 50s and wind up with 62 years of marriage, it's like unbelievable. And like the average, which come those roll alive, don't even last that long, But we made it, raised a family, and that we were very fortunate and very blessed. And that's why I initial faith and our love is the two things why we won the victory, over racism. As I got flavor. Faith, love, victory over racism. Because of faith and because of our love. And I think it could be nothing more, powerful than that,
Well, thank you for yeah. It's cool to think that you two met because of the Honey Boys at that show.
I'm sorry. Say it again.
It's cool that you guys met because of the Honey
Yes.
Boys.
Did I say how we met?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we was in a segregated special club in East Baltimore. The guy asked us to come there, and we did. And after the first couple of songs, kid came over and brought me a note and told me, and I thought it was a request, and I read it. It was, I want to dance with you. So I said, who sent it? He said, the two girls over there in the corner. So I walked over there and I grabbed one by the hand. So I started dancing with her. And I asked her, I got your note. She told me, my girlfriend sent the note. And so, this, and it's, I don't know how things, her girlfriend was a Jewish girl. And the guy who gave us the invitation for the Wisconsin, he was a Jewish guy. The reason why I can play organ was a Jewish guy gave me 3 years free lesson. My first job was a Jewish guy. And today I made a video called John Early World in Self-History, stand for Jewish. It's about how I made it through life because of these Jewish people. And that's something I would never forget. That's something I would never always cherish, And when I think about it, everything happened because of a Jewish person. That's the way God planned it. And he's Jewish.
I guess backtracking a little bit, like with you growing up.
Yes.
Were you surrounded by music, or like was music like in your home played a lot, or like with your parents or family? And
No, when we growing up, I couldn't leave the block. Yeah. Only thing we would listen at the radio. If I got a few pennies, I would buy a record. But that was like unusual. Somebody would give you a record or something like that. But during my time, what interests me, I'll tell you, the first when I was in school, my school was like 3 blocks from the Royal Theater, and one day the school had a half a day, so that we went to the Royal, the other fella and 2 girls, to see the Baltimore Orioles. That was the first group I ever seen. And I never thought about singing no group with them. But when I seen the Baltimore Orioles, that was something that really, you know, I see on there these girls hollering, screaming, you know, and that's, you know, well, I say, whoa, that's something. That was something initiated me right into being with a group. I would say that was something that the Baltimore Orioles. It was Sunday Teal and the Orioles, you know, but it was my first initiation.
So after you went to that show, how soon after did you start the Honey Boys?
Yeah, well,
or I guess
yeah, well, when we was that was my last year in school. You know, I graduated when I graduated, and I think right after I got out of school, we had a talent show in a school, in another school. If we went there, and just at that time, it was just me, the bass, and the baritone. We only had 3, but we went to that school and for performing that talent show, and we won it. I sung the song called "You Belong to Me." That song was by the Orioles, and that's the only time I heard the song about it. But I love it so much, and I sung that song, and we won this show. And the thing about it, one of the judges of that show was one of my school teachers. You know, and I was saying in the first part of my high school, but she didn't like me. She said, and I always knew it. She didn't like me, you know. But when she found out that it was John Billy, she couldn't believe it. I can go like this, but she was really, you know. So that's something I would never forget. I would never forget. You never know what you're going to face up your life, you know. And the compliments that we received, you know, from singing that song, "You Belongs to Me," you know, was so, you know, because I think it was like, it must have been like 7, I think it was 8 of the contestants, 8 or 10, something like that, you know. So we won it, you know. So I'll never forget that.
So you were 3 people then, right?
Yeah, it's just 3. That's the bass. Yeah, it's the bass, baritone, and myself, because the Khaki, he was when we started off with, you know, he was one of these, you know, kind of fellows, you know, didn't like to rehearse or nothing like that. That's how come later years, Eddie Rich from the Swallows came and he joined us, you know, and from that we did a lot of gigs with him. But I did more, I had more gigs when I had the John Billy and the Generators, you know. But at the time with the Honey Boys, you know, that was exciting, you know, because it's something that I'll never forget. And that would put me on a level that it's something, you know, that I never realized that, you know, that you can entertain the audience, you know. So that was exciting, very exciting. We had so many gigs that around in Baltimore. I think we but the only group in Baltimore that had more, because during that time you had like the Tune Toppers, the Jolly Jacks was coming, you know, and they would play, you know, But we didn't play it like one bar, but we used to go all by, because we used to do all the top 40 songs. You know, whatever's the number, you know, the top, we would do the song. And all the club members, I mean, all the club owners liked the generators, you know. And that's how I was going. And I have, had good feeling about that during that time, you know.
How was the first experience walking into the recording studio?
Oh, that was, I tell you, when I with the original Honey Boys, we did Vippity Vop and Never Lose Faith with Me. You know, that wasn't all that was come. But later on, I did walk in the studio and did Unchanged Melody. I was in Honey Love, yeah. And that was exciting because I led that, you know, Never Lose Faith in Me, Vippity Vop was led by Khaki, you know. You know, that's, you know, I was just humming, you know, so it wasn't no big thing, you know. But when I did Unchanged Melody, you know, and that was still in, that's on YouTube too right now. That's something that I, you know, I cherish because that's the song I sung. I think my wife heard, because right after I sung that song, that's when I got that note, you know. And that song really, in fact, I didn't know all the words, but it was, you know, it was enough for the people to enjoy it, you know. And to this day, you know, all my videos I go on YouTube, the song, they want me to put other songs, but I put Unchained Melody. And I did a tribute to her, my wife. And we was in New York, and I did what's called karaoke, what's called, and I sung a Unchained Melody, and I put that on YouTube, tribute to my wife. You know, that's the first time I ever did it by myself without my group. You know, and I was in Manhattan. And, but that was really exciting, you know. But I tell you, I had no regrets. I mean, we didn't make no big #1 hits or made a whole lot of money, or, you know. But the one thing I can dedicate my career is to my family. I've created a family because of singing, you know, and that was built, you know, made a stairway, and so I don't regret nothing. I don't regret, you know, like people say, it's like today, you know, guys, you know, making millions, billions of dollars, you know, you never heard, we talk about billions, but just, you know, we should sing in the nightclub. Each of us get $25 a piece, you know, and you know, that was, you know, we were satisfied.
Just for fun,
You know,
yeah.
during that time, it was I could buy the families, you know, something to eat.
Yeah. And I guess all those shows you did, I'm guessing that most memorable show you ever did was probably when you met your wife, right?
Cut.
Your most memorable show you ever did?
Yeah, the most. Let me see. I think the most memorable show with the Honey Wars or with the Generators, you speaking?
The Honey Boys.
Oh, we did who was it? The Tune Toppers. There used to be a group in Baltimore called the Tune Toppers. Al Brown and the Tune Toppers, you know, and he had a show. I think it was in Washington D.C. But he asked us, you know, to open up for him, you know. And that was really exciting. That was really something because he had a big follower, you know. And at that time, I know we never played the orders that big, you know. So that was one of my, you know, one of my most exciting I can think of at the moment, you know. But I tell you, it's the most exciting thing to me when we first started. The guy from the radio station asked us, will we come on his radio station and sing a song? That was exciting. We didn't get paid or nothing, but to be on the radio, that was the most exciting thing I can, you know, and then being on the stage, you know. So right today, you know, you think of that, you know, hey, just to be on the radio, and I think the song, I think we sung, wasn't no, what, I can't think of what, but wasn't no doo-wop or rock and roll Wisconsin. You know, it was a popular Wisconsin, you know. You know, the guy asked us, did we know any other song besides, you know, and so that's what we did. And that was exciting. That was very exciting to be on radio. And they told us, especially when you hear yourself on radio. And so, and to this day, Alan Lee, he was from the radio station. All the old song was gone, and he remembered the Honey Boys, you know. And today, I think it was last year. Yeah, last year was his last year on radio, you know. But he had all. He can give you. He can go back any song, any place, anyone, and Doo-Wop, I don't care what it is, from the Fifth to Allen Lee, you know. And I joined his club for all the records, you know, people who had all the records that they cherished, you know, from back in the day. And I joined that group, and that was exciting too, yeah. Yeah, we had a, like I say, you know, we had a great time. I had a great time, I can say. I had a great time, and I had nothing to regret. Like I said, yeah, I produced a family from that note. When that kid brought that note over, that started. So, you know, so you just think about that and think about the day, you know, what you got today, you know, and that's really thankful, really blessed, you know.
It's crazy to think that just from that, you know, singing with the Honey Boys and just that first encounter with your wife, you know, you changed history.
I got a little bit.
Yeah. I was saying it's crazy how, you know, singing with the Honey Boys.
Yeah.
And then doing that show, you met your wife, and how just, you know, singing, you changed history.
Yeah, exactly. That, you know, that's what I think about, you know, how things multiply in life that you don't know going to be there for you. It's like you just said, you met your wife, you know, and hey, your history would come. And that's something I can't believe. Sometimes I can't believe myself. You know, I can't believe myself. And even when my wife passed away, I was telling my friends, I said, you know what? I'm opening a museum. And everybody laughed at me. You know, he said, what do you mean a museum? I said, yeah, I'm having a museum with my wife. You know, that's my trip. I said, I don't care where I look in my house. If I'm even in the bathroom, sitting on the toilet, she looking at me smiling. I say, that's what I want. So when I did this, you know, and a lot of people, they can't believe it. You know, sometimes I can't believe it myself. You know, so at the time, the studio, the museum is a place that I wanted the whole state and city to carry on, even if I'm gone. And that's why I had, I'm making what's called for Morgan State University, donate the what's called to them, and they, for educational reasons. And this, I could have feeling that, it's not going to stop when I'm going. That's my, that's my aim, And I hope one day, my wife be just like, in popular, because what she did, and that's what I want. That's exactly what I want. That's why I'm doing everything. I don't care what it takes, As long as I'm here and I got my strength, that's what I'm going to do, And I think I owe it to her, And I think the state and the city owes it to her too. That's why I did my part with my museum, and I think the city. And I had talked to the staff members from the governor, and more, and he was supposed to get back to him. I'm still waiting, And that's because I want him, the state give me some kind of idea, make their preparation, and I want the city, whatever the city did. Well, the city made my song, so write love song, but, I want to for her. I want the city to do something for her because all this happened right in Baltimore City. And it's like Denise Cope. When you see that video on interracial couple, overthrow hate with their love, Denise Cope, she would tell me, Shirley, say, I don't care how much I love a person, ain't nowhere in the world I could go. And she's right. The average white girl went through what she went through. Especially during that time in the 50s. Oh my goodness. And not only that, the average black guy went through it neither. It was scary, It was frightening because that's the way things were in Baltimore, So it's part of life, I'm very proud I got over it, And that's why I'm doing what I'm doing. I love every bit of it, every bit of it.
Well, perfect. I guess if you have anything else to say now, say it. But that's I think I got everything I need from you.
Yeah, any question you want to ask me,
Yeah.
a lot of things I can't think of at the spur of a moment, but the main things that the Honey Boys was a group that I owe a lot of what's called, I owe a lot of, because of the Honey Boys, is because what I had to give my wife and my family. And I can say that, like I said, when you make no big hit record or nothing like that, we made one record, But what I got out of being a Honey Boy, I'm a honey man. So I can't ask for nothing better. I don't regret nothing.
Perfect. Well, do you have anything you want to say that you want them to remember about you?
Who's that?
I guess on the audience that's going to see this video.
Oh, well, if... I like, I want... Mostly things about the studio I got on YouTube, different stories about the museum. In fact, one of the biggest one, giving thanks to the President of the United States. Him and the governor and the senator, gave us thanks for our 62nd anniversary. You know, and I put that, I made a video and put it, you know. And I got videos about me trimming things to Shirley that about her birthday, you know, for her birthday. And flavor is one of the things, it's a part of history in the state of Maryland. I'd like for Maryland to recognize that's what they have here because of demolishing that law in 1956. And what I think the state should have some kind of some kind of for the proper way of putting Shirley Billy at the top of the history book in Baltimore because of relation with blacks and white. And I think when a white woman have a baby by a black man and nothing thought of it, it was because of Shirley Billy.
And everything she went through. Yeah.
I feel that, you know. And she was the only one, and the first one and the only one convicted of that crime. You know, so right then and there, that was a big mark right there. It set a tone for other women, you know. I mean, a friend of mine, his wife is Caucasian, and I told her, I said, and they got 2 children. I said, you know, them kids is because of my wife, you know. You know, I told him, and they laughed, you know. He said, you're right. I said, yeah, you know, but it sounds funny, you know, when you say it, but it's true. I mean, in the state, you know, in other states, something different, but we in Maryland, you know. So I felt that she deserved all the glory. She deserved all the glory, you know. So I'm still on the governor, still on the mayor, you know, about for this notarizing, you know, of her. So that's what I can say. Flavor Museum will be here in Maryland, and I hope that the most popular thing to hear as far as history of a person that who made it. I think and it will be, you know, it'll be a blessing that the whole world know about it. You know. Yes.
Perfect. Well, thank you for sitting down with me and talking. I appreciate it. I appreciate you sitting down and talking with me.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I appreciate you. You know, you take the message. You know, well, you know, it makes me feel good if anybody interested in, you know, today. You know, it's like things happen in the past. A lot of people don't pay no attention to that no more. You know, but it's always that one person like yourself. You know, I want to hear blah blah blah. You know, and that means a lot. That means a lot to me. It does. You know, because it makes me feel that, you know, there's somebody out here still interested in what you had done in the past, you know, we had done. And that means a lot. It means a lot.